Greetings, folks. The Great Scott here, and welcome to another virtual volunteer segment. And I'm very excited about the virtual volunteers that we have today. These guys are actually kind of in a new category rather than some of the guests I've had in the past. If you've been watching my past virtual volunteer segments, I've had several actors from the faith-based community and several fictitious characters as well, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Santa Claus. Well, today I've got two YouTube personalities with me, because those of us who post stuff like this on YouTube, we love watching YouTube as much as we love posting it. And I don't know about you, but anytime I see one of those twin prank videos uploaded to YouTube, I always got to watch it because everybody knows I'm a big twin enthusiast. Well, today we have the two twins from Twin Television. They have 160,000 subscribers and they post a lot of twin pranks. Will you please welcome the twins of Twin Television, the twins of Twin Television, that's a tongue twister, Kevin and Stevin. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, hi.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a long time coming, actually. I'd asked you guys, and we had trouble lining up our schedules, so it's nice to finally have you guys here. And I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be one of my virtual volunteers here today. So, what I thought I would do here today is something kind of unusual. I'm actually going to do a trick that I've already done here on my virtual volunteer segment before. I did this with Michael Joyner, and I had someone say to me, do tricks look the same every single time you do it? To prove that there can be different outcomes, I'm repeating this one trick, and I'm going to do it slightly different because I have two volunteers this time. Okay, now, so that we don't have to worry about playing favorites here, I'm going to let nature decide who picks the first card. Kevin, Stephen, which one of you is the older twin? That would be you, Kevin.
Kevin's older.
Kevin's older, okay. Now, I explain this every time that I do a card trick. I do not use playing cards for my card tricks. I use Uno cards for a couple reasons. One is because I do a lot of shows for kids when I'm actually doing shows. And second of all, on a camera here, the bright colors are much easier to see. And of course, you can't have somebody reach through the Skype and actually take a card out. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go like this, and I would like you to please tell me where to stop, Kevin. Right there. Okay, so this is where you stop me. And this card right here is going to be the card you are going to look at. Will you please look at that card and remember it, if you would please? Don't say it out loud, though. You got it?
Got it.
Okay, I'm going to show it to the camera so everybody there can see it. Now, please remember that card, both color and number, if you would. Now, Stephen, I'm going to have you pick a card as well. So once again, I go like this. Please say stop again.
Stop.
I'm supposed to say stop again, but that was close enough. Never mind, that was a joke. That was a joke. Okay, so you're going to be looking at this card right here. Do you see it, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now I'm going to show it to the camera so they can see it at home. Okay, now we will start with Kevin. Like I said, this trick is called the prediction envelope that is never wrong. Unfortunately, it only works with Uno card tricks. Doesn't work with anything else. Like, I've actually had people ask me, can you foretell the future with this thing? And I go, no, I can only predict Uno card tricks. And the reason it only works with Uno card tricks is because inside of this envelope, there is always just one ginormous Uno card. Okay? And you can see that there is nothing else in there besides the Uno card. Is that right, gentlemen? I will show it to the camera there as well. Okay? So, Kevin, we are going to start with you. Would you be surprised if this ginormous Uno card was the exact same card that you just stopped me on?
I would be.
You would be surprised. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now that this card positively does not match your card. Do you want to know why? Because that is an old trick and everybody has done that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you to math class here real quickly. You remember the color and you remember the number that was on your card, Kevin?
Right.
Okay. Keep the color. And what I want you to do with the number is divide it exactly in half. Put the result of that math problem with the color so you're thinking of a new card, right? Like, for example, if you were thinking of the green, if you had picked the green 6, you'd now be thinking of the green 3. Understand?
Understand, yeah.
Okay. So I ask you, sir, does the card that you're thinking of look anything like that?
Yes.
It does. So, blue 4. Now, I showed you guys that this envelope was empty. So some people are probably wondering, okay, how in the world, why did you have Stephen pick a card then? Well, wouldn't it be amazing if I could put this exact same card back in the envelope, and moments later, I could do the exact same trick with Stephen? Would that be interesting? Yes.
That would be very interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to take the card right back out, having just put it in a moment ago. Stephen, I want you to do the exact same thing your brother just did. I want you to divide the number on your card exactly in half. keep the color, and if you do that, what card do you end up with?
Okay, I have that in mind. It's kind of tricky because it was an odd number.
Oh, it was an odd number. I'm sorry. You know what? I messed this up with Michael Joyner when I did it with him as well. I always forget one direction when I start. If it's an odd number, you multiply by 2. If it's an even number, you divide. Okay. So if you multiply by 2 and keep the color, what do you end up with?
I have it in my mind.
What is it?
A red 10.
Guys, have you ever played Uno before?
Yeah,
The numbers in Uno only go up to 9.
that's a problem.
That is a problem. But, oh, wait a minute. When I said divided exactly in half, what would you have ended up with that way?
2.5.
Also known as red 2.5.
There it is.
Okay.
That's right. And the funny thing is that this was the blue 4 that you just saw a moment ago, Kevin. And I could show... Okay, wait a minute. Something's going wrong here. There's something still in here. This envelope was supposed to be empty. Wait a minute. Stephen, when I said multiply it by 2, what did you say you ended up with?
A red 10.
Like I said, this is the prediction envelope that is never wrong.
Very impressed. Very impressed.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you were very... Oh, and here's the best part. Look at this. The blue 4 that predicted your brother's one is completely gone. And all we have here are the custom-made 10 and 2.5 I just showed you a moment ago. It's one of the reasons why that's one of my favorite tricks. I had another version of that, like I said, I did for Michael Joyner, but someone wondered if it could ever be different, and I wanted to show them that you could do the same trick more than one way. So in some ways, this is also a magic teaching moment here, if you will. Now, you said that you guys were impressed by that. Well, one of the reasons why we were connected was because I was impressed by you guys. I was impressed by some of the very creative ways that you guys have got to check out these guys' YouTube channel, Twin Television, by the way. They've done some very innovative twin pranks. If you guys, just so I don't forget any, like what are some scenarios you guys have done on your YouTube channel?
We did a twin drive-through. So one twin was in front in a different car, and then the twin behind him went after, and the person handing us the food got shocked at seeing double.
Really?
We've also done, a twin elevator prank, where somebody gets on the elevator at one floor and sees one twin, and then when they get off on another floor, they see the other twin.
You know, one thing I was wondering, some of the reactions you guys have on there are just priceless. But I'm wondering, there are people who are off in their own little world. Some people, before YouTube existed, there were these specials that would do experiments, like they would hang up a missing child poster and have the kid hanging around the mall and see if anybody noticed that the kid was right there, and no one would. So obviously, if you're trying to do a video for reaction, you wouldn't use this. But was there anybody that those scenarios didn't work on? Was there anybody that was just so oblivious they didn't even notice? Or did everybody pretty much do a double take? Or were there people who didn't notice?
There were people who, so we noticed with the elevator prank that a lot of people are on their phones.
Right.
So they're not paying attention to who's in the elevator or who's coming inside the elevator. So that's why we decided to use crutches.
Oh, okay.
Because, they would pay attention to somebody in crutches, and that actually helped us pull the prank off.
I don't know if you guys know this, but an interesting little tidbit here. They put this in a play called Habgood, I think it's called. I could be wrong. But there's no government has ever confirmed or denied that this was true. But they used to use twins during, supposedly according to this play, they used to use twins for undercover work during the Cold War. And you want to know how that would work? Well, one of the problems with undercover work is you have to go, if you're infiltrating like a foreign place or whatever, or a terrorist cell or whatever, you then have to go and report back to your handler about everything that the bad guys are doing, otherwise you can't catch them. And if the bad guys are keeping too close of an eye on you, it's hard to slip away. So what they would do is they would train identical twins to mimic each other's mannerisms, to have ways to do. So what would happen is, if someone got a whole bunch of information, he would then switch places with his brother, and that way the bad guys didn't think that the guy they just told their whole plot to was gone. Meanwhile, the guy that they actually did is back spilling his guts to his handlers and stuff. So it was very dangerous, according to the play that it was based on. Now, I have no idea if this actually worked, but there's rumors that they actually did it. In fact, this concept was written into an ABC show called Quantico, and they had two twin sisters who were going through. They couldn't even tell their fellow cadets that there were two of them. They were going through this. Of course, they did the lazy thing that Hollywood always does. Now the computers are all over the place. They had one actress play both parts. Every time I see, I can understand doing that in a movie, but when you're doing a television show that is every single week, I never understood why you would go through all the trouble of having to do major computer editing of one actor and a body double and stuff like that. I just say, there's tons of twins out there who are talented, present company included. Why don't they? If I were doing something, I would just look for the real thing. I would not do the lazy split screen thing, in my opinion. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I remember Parent Trap. When I was a kid, I thought Lindsay Lohan was a twin. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought that growing up, and then I realized, oh, there's the power of green screen. So, I don't know.
Actually, the way that they do it has come a long way since the Patty Duke show. Patty Duke played identical cousins on a show that she was on, and if you look at that was when television was still in black and white. And every shot of her and her cousin who looks just like her together is always like them on the opposite sides of the screen, because back then they literally had to cut the film in half and paste it together in order to do stuff like that. Nowadays, you can have something like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future 3 walking right next to his uncle, who is played by Michael J. Fox as well, and they're practically on top of each other, because in that shot, Michael J. Fox's Marty is actually walking in front of a green screen, and they just shot the footage of Michael J. Fox and the actress playing his wife talking to nobody. And then they just put Michael J. Fox in front of a green screen like a weatherman, and it looks like it's by today's standards, you'd actually see that Marty looked a little superimposed, but for the time it looked awesome. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I'm still a big believer, as you know from projects we've talked about that we can't really talk about here. I am more for using the real thing than I am for all this split screen stuff. I jokingly said, computers are putting twins who are actors out of business.
Yeah, and you're right. It would make editing a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the reasons there have actually been some twins, like Jason and Jeremy London, one of who was on Seventh Heaven. They've appeared on screen together just once, and that was in an episode of Seventh Heaven. And part of the reason why they did that was because they didn't want to get pigeonholed as twin actors, because any real twins who act tend to end up in the gag. You know what I mean? They end up the joke. They end up the two henchmen of the bad guy or something like that. They don't get much of a chance to actually act. And I'm like, what if you just did a movie about two people that happen to be twins and don't make it the gimmick? You know what I mean? Don't make it a gimmick. Just, well, one of the problems is that twins can't play anything but twins, unfortunately, because you guys look so much alike. You know what I mean? There'd be other ways around it, but I could go off on a long rabbit trail on that. Let's get back to your guys' YouTube channel, because I do want to talk a little bit more about that. I was trying to think about what was my favorite one that you guys did, and I really liked the one where one of you had facial hair and one of you didn't. I look at that one and I go, okay, that's one that took some planning, because you had to wait until one of you had a full beard. Now, which one of you had the full beard for that video?
I did.
Okay, you got a little something right there, right now.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little. But I mean, did you grow it just for that, or did you guys come up with that because you had a beard at the time? What was the story behind it? Was there a story behind that?
I think I had the beard, actually.
Yeah.
And we were in school, and so video shooting was kind of sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we were going to come up with a video where we could implement my beard, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm. What I found interesting, and I forget which one of you I talked to on the phone about this, but I'll mention it here. Most of the setup, and it makes sense, because even though it would be really quick, you could technically leave, shave real quick, and come back. So I understood why you guys did clean shaven first and then the beard second, because that would be like next to impossible to happen. But at one point in the video, you said, we sent the beard first this time. And the first question you asked was about facial hair, and the lady said she didn't like it, but then you didn't show the rest of that. That was the only. I think one of you told me that something went wrong with that one. What happened there?
Yeah, it was me. So I was editing the video,
okay.
And I was so used to going first that when I had the opportunity to go second, I didn't know what to do. So my acting was pretty terrible. So I was like, you know what? We just won't put it in.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you took it out because you didn't want to be embarrassed. I understand that. I can vouch for that. One of the reasons why I record, a lot of people who watch these, I don't know if you know, I record these ahead of time. These are never streamed live. One of the reasons why I do that, and get, like for example, we had to do a second take here because I forgot to put my phone in airplane mode and I didn't want to get interrupted. But you know, you live and learn from doing stuff like this. And I think didn't you guys I think your most recent video was actually a combination of your favorite twin pranks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, if people want to see all your twin pranks, they basically just have to watch the most recent one. They don't have to go back to everyone. They can kind of watch the highlight one, right?
Yeah, you'll just get a snippet of each prank. So if you want to see the full video, you'll want to check out the full video. But during, with the coronavirus and quarantine, it's hard to actually go and film videos. So we just thought we'd put a
You're preaching to the choir on that one. Why do you think I've gone? I wasn't doing these virtual volunteers until the coronavirus thing happened. Actually, today is May 26th. I actually did my very first social distancing magic show today for a family of 4. The daughter was turning 8, and she couldn't have a party. So I was hired to do a party for them in their backyard, and I've become very good at doing stuff like having a person pick a card when they're not actually here from doing these. So it was my very first contactless show. It was my very first social distancing magic show, but what makes it even more interesting is that it was the first time I was in front of a live audience since March 14th.
Wow.
It was only 4 people, but it was nice to be in front of an audience. I noticed I was a little rusty as well, but maybe I was just tired because I was so anxious the night before, like, yes, the great Scott returneth, So I had a Zoom show today as well that I actually finished up about an hour before we shot this, so it's been interesting. I'm just happy that my work has been able to adjust with what's going on. It's almost like there is. I said to somebody once, I think there's this unsatiable, even more today with social media. I feel like there's this insatiable appetite that people have to be entertained, and they kind of want it at their fingertips at times, which is why so many people like you guys have been able to do things like your YouTube channel and, in some ways, capitalize on that or take advantage of that, whichever term you want to use. And I was actually surprised that a lot of things have still continued even after this has happened. But hey, I'm not complaining. I enjoy it. So I want to thank you guys. Well, we know that because of the coronavirus, it'll be hard for you guys to shoot anything soon, like you said. But we will look forward to check out Twin Television and check out some of the videos they have so that you can be subscribed. So when these guys do come back, you'll already be subscribed and you can watch anything new that they shoot when that time comes. Stephen, Kevin of Twin Television, I want to thank you guys for being my guest today. And thank you all for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, our pleasure.